So you're done putting up your grass cloth, and it happens to have a lot of frayed edges simply because there's a lot of crisscross in your wall covering. One thing that can make a job really look ugly in an otherwise very beautiful job is this. Uneven woodwork with trim that kind of isn't 100%, caulking that's not 100%, you inherit that problem as the installer or the do-it-yourselfer because it's going to reflect on your job. Now, I was told by the homeowner, don't worry about it. Now, the homeowner's the guy who does all the stuff, but I know that this is reflecting on my job, so I don't leave that. I don't suggest that you leave this end result when you leave the job. So I want to show you what I would do if I were you, what I do with my work when I finish a job like this with a very steady hand. And if you don't have a steady hand, let somebody else do it. This is a 3-inch Purdy angle sash brush, fairly brand new. I just wet it, and in order to get all of the water out, I did this really quickly. This is ready now to cut me a straight line to hide all of this unevenness, okay? And look at how much better it's going to look when we paint it. Why did I wet it? So that my bristles will not absorb the moisture in the paint disproportionately and then change the layout. You see, now my paint isn't being sucked into the bristles because the bristles are already damp. It's just a little trick that you may or may not want to do. Come in close, please. So we got a nice amount of woodwork here, meaning that we got a nice shelf, so to speak. And I'm going to actually paint my wallpaper. Just a little bit. You see that? And the reason I'm doing that is to make my wallpaper look perfectly straight. But it's not. Because the edges of the wall covering, this one in particular, they don't come off. You see, you're cutting through crisscrosses. And so here's what happens. If you cut beyond a crisscross, then the wall covering stays intact. But if you should cut it off after the crisscross and you sever it, you have a frayed edge. And that's what's going on here. And so in order to make it look nice, we're just going to paint it. These are all things, of course, you take into account when you consider what material you're hanging. Because the last thing you want to do is to leave a job and say, well, that's the stuff that you had me hang. And then if that's how you treat your customers, that's going to make it online. When you say, well, you know, that's the stuff you had me hang, that's the result. Better off you do this, make it look pretty, and then give them a beautiful product in the end. Don't let somebody else clean up your mess. Here's another rule in commercial work that I'd like to share. Never leave your work for somebody else. And anybody who works for himself knows this fully well. You work for yourself, you know what happens when you get a guy to work for you for a day or two. If he's not on the ball, oh yeah, I left that wall for you to paint, or I left that piece for you to take down. It happens. And then you're stuck in a situation where some guy you hired painted half the wall. No, you gotta finish the job. Okay, so come in close. Of course, you got to clean off all the glue, right? Before you start something like this. If you have glue on the woodwork, you know what's going to happen. You see how much nicer the edge looks? And you actually are painting the wallpaper, but just the edges, so that you can hide all of those frayed edges that are inevitable with this type of wall covering. See how much neater it looks? I just started following a new painter on YouTube. I forget the guy's name. It showed up on my YouTube feed. And, you know, I don't look at guys, so I'm like, I left him a comment. I said, hey, it's nice to meet you. Do me a favor, subscribe to my channel. Because he was talking about painting cabinets. I looked at the first comment. Some girl saying how handsome he is, you know. I looked at the second comment. Another girl saying how handsome he is. So I looked at the guy and I'm like, I don't think he's that handsome, but I never saw so many comments on a painting video about how good looking the guy was. And I suppose if somebody makes a comment, I will try to find, I just subscribed to the guy. And I just thought it was funny how all these women are telling him how good looking he is. Oh, some girl left a comment, she said, I don't even have cabinets, and I'm glad I watched this. That was the funniest thing. All right, look at all of this. Look at all those frayed edges, right? So when I cut my wallpaper, guess what? I cut that point where it was holding down the material. And so now I have frayed edges, right? It's not a fault of my installation, it's a consequence of my installation. And so, to make it look pretty, we're going to create an illusion that it's all nice and even and neat. And what does the paint wind up doing? It binds the loose material back together, right? And there you have it. Real slow. 3-inch angle sash brush from Purdy does the trick. And there you have it. That's what I suggest you do. So if you have any questions about the video, leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Click on like and subscribe to my channel. And we'll see you on the next one.